Hello, everyone. I am here with our Pisces full moon reading, a little forecast for that, which is on the 9th or 10th, depending where you live. And I am going to try to load this video on Instagram, but I'm also going to be loading it on my YouTube channel because this seems to be the new thing. I'm struggling to get videos loading. And quite frankly, my last one, which was all about Mercury, which I couldn't load on Instagram, so I've started the YouTube thing, feels like Mercury's giving me a push. And Mercury is very, very present at the moment. And in many ways, he's quite present in this particular full moon. So the full moon is in Pisces, opposite the sun in Virgo. And those two energies have this kind of push-pull energy of Virgo wanting to be quite practical, quite detail-oriented, edit out of our lives what we don't need, focus on, the next right step. That's where the sun is, and that's also where Venus is at the moment. And Mercury rules those Virgo planets because Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. And then opposing that, on the other side of the chart, we have the Pisces full moon, which is very near Neptune. And Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. So he's very comfortable there. We've spoken about him quite a lot this year. And he's very much about the dreams, the big picture, the ocean, not the individual drop in the ocean, the wave, not the particle in the wave, that kind of thing. And he is right near this full moon, and the moon in Pisces is really also connected to those Piscean tendencies of the collective, the wise old sage. Sometimes, because the feelings can be so big there is a tendency to want to numb the feelings. So whatever it is that you use to numb your feelings, like maybe workaholism, just getting busy with exercise to the point that you don't have to feel what you're feeling, any actual addictions or more well-known addictions. There's many addictions that are normalized, but any of those sorts of things where we're avoiding the big feelings, because the moon is about our feelings and she's in a sign that's about big feelings. So it can be pretty intense. So, and she's right there with Neptune, who's kind of playing into that excess as well, that excess and overwhelm. So if you're in a really good place of visioning or dreaming for the future, then that may be enhanced in the positive. But then if you get swept away in the overwhelm, that may be enhanced. Then you might want to use whatever tools and techniques you use to numb the pain. And you might even use that by throwing back into the Virgo side of the chart, where you get super practical, super ordered, super organized. So that is an opposition. And then what turns this particular full moon into a T-square is at 90 degrees from both the sun and the moon, who are opposite each other. They're 180 degrees, is Mars in Gemini. I did do a video on Mars in Gemini. He's going to be there for a good long time. He's very prominent in this particular full moon. And a T-square is kind of like an uncomfortable conversation between the Virgo planets and the Pisces planets and the Gemini planets, all mutable signs. So if you're somebody who is a mutable energy or has a lot of planets or placements in mutable signs, this is going to be even stronger for you. And those would be Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the one space where there isn't a lot going on. So that may be the place where the energy is spilling out into, or otherwise you pick the point, the apex of the Gemini space, which is Mars, and you look at what can I do? And of course, Gemini is always going to give you options. You could do this or you could do that. It's never cut and dried when it's with Gemini. So that is already quite a strong thing in the sky. We also have Mars and Venus. So sun and moon are like grandmother and grandfather energy, this like wise old couple, and they're at a head opposition, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Head butting. They're at a head butting point and opposing one another in this moment. So every relationship has its dramas, and every full moon is a little bit of a relationship drama between sun and moon, and they are opposite one another. Now, the other two very strong relational, like feminine, masculine, or yin yang energies, and remember this isn't about gender, would be Mars and Venus, and they're at a square. They're at a 90 degree. So you might think of the opposition, the 180 degree, as like a tug of war, a power pulling play. And then the 90 degree angle creates pressure to change. So it's like that squeezing the carbon to turn it into a diamond. So the two of the yang yin energies, or the relational energies, are squeezing one another, and the other two are tugging one another. So that's kind of happening somewhere inside of you and maybe outside of you as well. And then we have Mercury, who is in charge of the Gemini area and in charge of the Virgo area of the chart at the moment. So very tied into that T-square, even though he himself is not in that T-square. He is opposing Jupiter, so he has a bit of a pull energy, but he's giving support to Mars. So I really feel like if you look at your Mars Gemini energy at the moment, what can I do? Let me look at my options. Let me take some deep breaths. Again, if you're mutable, this is going to be much stronger for you. But it gives us an opportunity for a change to move away from all the fixed energy that's been going on for the last while. And then one other thing I want to mention about this is the Saturn-Uranus square, which was prominent all of last year. It was kind of like our major theme. Although that's not coming to exactitude, it is getting pretty damn close. And so remember, Uranus and Saturn, they're both very, very different ways of challenging the status quo. Uranus does that by burning things down so we can rebuild, and he does it in a way that's often like pulling the rug out from underneath you. And Saturn does it by saying, shore up your foundations, do your work, just keep building, just keep moving. But he's very much like the old order, whereas Uranus is the new order. And very, very, very clearly in the collective right now, we have this old versus new paradigm. It was huge in the last year, and it's kind of crystallizing to its next closest point now before it will start to dissipate. These are very slow moving planets. So this isn't something we feel overnight. And it's oftentimes something that we actually only really understand when we look back in a few years' time and go, wow, look at how much was changing there. It's like when you're in the battle and you've got your boots on the ground, you can only see just around you. You don't get the big picture. And then when history or herstory writes the story, you start to hear what other perspectives of that same battle were. And you start to get a bigger picture, an idea of how much was actually changing. So that is also very, very present in this particular full moon. So I hope this has been helpful. Please do look me up on YouTube and follow me there if you're finding this on Instagram. And I look forward to growing my community and growing my ability to share some of these insights for those of you that they're helpful for. Have a beautiful full moon and try to do something that really fuels your creative soul.